Move over, pretties, because we've got sweeties. Hi everyone, and cheers. I hope you're doing well. So this voiceover is recorded over some clips that had originally live commentaries. Don't pay attention to my hands flip-flopping all over the place. I will do my best to land the message nevertheless. If you're not familiar with the Pretties concept, I will link to the video explaining everything about it. It will be linked in the description as well as in the iCard at the upper right hand corner of the screen. Basically, what I do is take a sheet of or a piece of artwork that I did not like, add some stuff over it, and some more stuff over it, and some more stuff over it. Basically cover it up with paint and doodling, and then I cut into that piece. And here's another example of what I was able to produce with this sheet, which is crazy. When you look at it, it's quite confusing, but by isolating certain areas of each of those, they turn into something so fun. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I put the card and the bookmark together. It goes without saying that you do not need all the equipment that I have. I'm going to show you some punches that I use. You can very well use scissors. And in fact, the first card that I'm going to put together, I will be freehand cutting, if that is such a thing, freehand cutting the heart's shape. You can also use a template. You can cut out a circle, not a circle, but a heart that you would like to use, and then use that as a template to trace over some of the areas that you want to isolate on your background sheet. There are many ways to do this, and of course the simplest way is to use a punch like the one that I'm showing you right now. This one is by Stampin Up and it's quite old, so I'm not sure that it's still available, but any heart punches will do. I'll also be using a corner rounded punch, and that is for the bookmark. Obviously this is not necessary. I just like the rounded edge on the bookmark, but you can totally do a decent bookmark without that. When I decide to use the scissors, I always like to isolate the part that I'm cutting into. It just makes it a lot more easier. I also always start with the rounded edge, one of the sides, obviously, of the heart, and then just eyeball it. It's that easy. It always also helps when you're cutting into paper to move the paper as opposed to moving the scissors. And there you go, a imperfectly shaped heart, just like I like them. I like to use 3 large hearts for the flower and then 2 small hearts for the leaves. For the bookmark, I'm using the punch, and I always turn the punch upside down so I can see where I'm punching, and I'll need 3 sets of these. Let's tackle the bookmark first. I start off by rounding the corners just because I have nothing in the way. Be mindful that if you install the tassel before you do that, your punch might not be able to go all the way through to cut nice corners. So that's why I always start with this step. Then the bookmark measuring 6 inches by 2, I will make a line down the middle at 1 inch. And for this, I use a gold gel pen. And then I just glue the hearts down, lined up with that line. The line doesn't go all the way through. There's some room at the top and at the bottom. And for gluing, you can either use a glue stick or a two-way adhesive. I'm going to use both because I have both and I can show you. The thing that you're seeing on the left is an old catalog, and I use it when I have to glue small things like this, it makes the job so much easier because I can go all the way up to the edges of my shape and not have to worry about glue falling onto my desk. When I'm done all my gluing, I can just flip the page over and start anew. So it's a good trick if you have an old magazine lying around or a pamphlet or a catalog. Keep them because they might come in handy. Next, you'll need to punch a hole at the top to thread the twine through it. The punch I'm using, I bought at an office supply store, so easily available. I like to double up this twine because it's quite thin. So I just thread that through, do a slip knot through the hole, and then cut the excess, and we're almost done. The thing I like to add just for a touch of glitter is to use Stickles. So I'll just do like random dots here and there on the bookmark, and then make sure that I set it aside while it's drying, because I have been known to smudge the Stickles. So once everything is done, just let it dry. The Stickles will not show their glitter until everything is completely dry, and it will dry flat as well. I just love these. They're so cute, and they're quite easy to make. So now we're going to move on to the card. The card base is a piece of cardstock that measures 8.5 by 11, and I cut down in half on the long end. Then I'm left with two pieces of 8.5 by 5.5, and then I fold each of these pieces into to make two cards. So with one full sheet you can make two cards. Before I glue the petals down, I traced the stem with a marker, and then with a two-way adhesive. This is the Tombow Mono permanent adhesive. I just glued the petals down at the top, and of course I will add the leaves as well. I like to handwrite the sentiments on my cards. I know it's not for everybody, and if you happen to have a stamp that has an appropriate sentiment, you can use that. If you are uncertain about your handwriting, here's a little trick for you. I've mentioned this before, but what you can do is thicken the downstrokes, which means that you go over them a few times to get this full calligraphy look. I'm telling you, it saves any kind of handwriting. I like to add touches of gold on everything I do. This card does not escape it. So I'm just painting in some dots with the Kramer Pigments Pale Gold watercolor, but I will also add Stickles. And we're done with the projects. They look so cute. Here's another paper that I have prepared as a background, and I was going to use it to punch out more of those sweeties, but I decided to use it as a cover for a mini watercolor journal. So you don't need to punch out of your sheets. If you like the way they look as a whole, just keep them and use them as backgrounds for cards or covers for books. I'm sure you can come up with other creative ways to use them. And that's it, we're done. I just love these projects. I think they're fun, they're quick, easy to make. And the funnest part for me, funnest is a word. The most fun part for me is to actually prepare the background paper or the background page. But here's a closer look at what they look like. Thank you so much for watching. And if you are interested in seeing the full process of preparing the background, I have a video all set up and ready to go on my Patreon page. The link will be below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, my awesome patrons, for supporting my art over at Patreon. It means the world to me. I wish you all a beautiful and creative week, and I will see you soon.